Hey, how you doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. The coronavirus continues. The coronavirus continues. Sunday, April 19th, 2020. Today I wanted to talk about stilettos. I'm always showing you guys my new stuff and everything like that, my cold steels and bench blades, whatever, spider codes or whatever. But I want to go over some of the old stuff. You know, I've made videos on this stuff before, but I don't know. I just want to rehash it and just pull out some of my old favorite stilettos from Germany and the Czech Republic, Italy, and just talk about them a little bit and let you guys know why I love stilettos so much. I've been collecting these. These have been in my collection probably since the 1980s, most of them. I started collecting stilettos really seriously, probably about like the mid 1980s. And I collected them until maybe about, I don't know, about the end of 1990s, somewhere around there. And I stopped collecting them. So all these knives that you see right here are at least 20 to 40 years old. All of these have been in my collection for at least 20 years. Some have been in my collection for maybe almost up to 40 years. A lot of them have been in my collection up to like 30 to 35 years. And I can't really tell you when I actually got things and stuff like that because I have so many and I don't know exactly when I got. These are just my favorite ones. I have more of these. These are just the ones I like the best. I have more. I just like pick my favorite ABs, my favorite kissing cranes, my favorite Falcons, my favorite Frank Bs, my favorite Alberto Beltramis and Frank Beltramis, and AKCs, and Hubertus, German Hubertus, and Czechoslovakian Mikov. And this one's just a custom, but it doesn't have a name on it, so I don't know who actually made this one, but it's a custom. I know it's probably from Italy. But let's just talk about them a little bit. Let's start with this one. This one's an AB. That means Alberto Beltrami from Italy. This one I probably got in the early 1990s, or I would say early 1990s. Early to mid 1990s, I probably bought this one. It's a dagger, stainless steel. This was a swivel bolster. I only have one picklock out here. All these others are swivel bolsters. But these are all folding stilettos. The way that this one works, you press down the bolster and it releases the blade, then the blade will fall down, and then you can lock it so the button won't work, then you can unlock it so the button does work. Very basic. It's typical Italian switchblade. This one has bullhorn, real bullhorn handles. Nicely polished. Oh, I got my little girl trying to get into the video. I better let her make her entrance. Yeah, I better let her make her entrance. Okay. Okay, you made your entrance. Now you can go. Okay. Next one I have on the line is very much like this, but it's made by a different maker. This one's made by AKC, Automatic Knives Company. Angelo Campolin, I think that's how you say his name. They also make the Falcon manual stilettos. Their automatic division is the AKC Automatic Knives division. They're all made. Beltrami and AKC are both in Maniago, Italy. Angelo, I used to buy stilettos in bulk Falcon stilettos. I used to sell them on eBay back in the 90s. I was really into Italian stilettos back in the day. It used to be my favorites. My first pocket knife was a Japanese stiletto I bought in a Phillips Street magazine. So stilettos are pretty much my favorite style of knife. No, I'm not a murderer or a killer or anything like that. I just like stilettos. I've always been attracted to stilettos. I think the first time I saw a stiletto was in a movie called The West Side Story. Between the Sharks and the Jets. And he had a knife fight with a dueling match with Italian stiletto switchblades. I think that's the first time I ever saw one. And I've been in love with, I've been infatuated, not infatuated, but I don't know, attracted to them ever since. And that's the first knife, these are the first knives I collected, were stilettos. And after that came balisongs. But that's another story, that's another video. But my first love was the stiletto for knife collecting. All these knives, I haven't carried any of these. Because these are, well, the manual ones aren't illegal in our state, but the switchblades are illegal. But you're allowed to own them and collect them, but you cannot carry them out in public. You can carry them around in your house, but you can't carry on your property, but you can't carry them off your property. So these are all pretty much the way I got them, the way I received them. And most of them, they were bought used and stuff like that on the internet from other people that had them and stuff like that. Because it's hard to get new switchblades in the United States. You just gotta get ones that are in good condition, that belong to other collectors or people that had them and they didn't use them or abuse them. Which there's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people that collect these. So it's pretty common. But anyway, that's the AKC. Let's move on to the next one. These are 13 inch. 13 inch. These right here, the first ones I'm showing you are 13 inch switchblades. Okay, the next one up. Oh, I didn't open and close this one for you, huh? Here, let me open and close it real quick. And this is a dagger grind also, just like the Beltrami. And it operates in the same way. You can open it, and you can lock it and unlock it with this button right here. So it won't go off in your pocket. And the button that you use to push it. And these are also bullhorn handles. Bullhorn handles with brass liners, stainless steel lock bar. This is really like a picklock, but they use a swivel instead of having to use your fingers to pick it up. But it's really like a picklock. This one's a swivel bolster. You unlock it by swiveling the bolster. And stainless steel bolsters, bullhorn handles, stainless steel blade. And I would say these are all about 3 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter, something like that, 3 or 3.5 millimeter thickness. And always the big switchblades operate slower than the smaller ones because the blades are heavier and longer. So don't expect them to be like snapping out like a little switchblade. AKC. Okay, let's move on to the next one. That's a 13-inch AKC. One of my favorites, the dagger. This one is a manual. This one is a manual. It's a Kissing Crane. Kissing Crane number 49. Rostfrei. Means in German stainless steel. Kissing Crane, Germany. This one has solid brass bolsters. They're not plated, they're brass. Brass liners, staghorn handle scales, stainless steel lock bar. This one's also about the same millimeter as the other ones. Just to let you guys know that the parts for these, the ones that are made in Germany for the Kissing Cranes, back in the old days, I don't know about nowadays, because I think Kissing Crane might have went to China or something like that. I'm not sure. I think I've seen some Chinese Kissing Cranes now. But back in the old days when they were assembled and soldered in Germany, The parts came from AKC. They came from Falcon knives in Maniago, Italy. The parts are actually made in Italy, and they're sent to Germany, to Solingen, Germany, to the Kissing Crane, to the old Kissing Crane factory, and that's where they were manufactured or put together. But the parts and the blades and everything came from Falcon stilettos or AKC, Italian stilettos. So it's really Italian/German stiletto. Hope you guys got that. But these are the Kissing Cranes. I don't know where Kissing Cranes are made now. These are all from the 1990s and 1980s. None of them are from the 2000s or whatever. These are old Kissing Cranes. These are the real German ones. The ones that would be considered German Kissing Cranes. Stainless steel blade. All the same specs pretty much as like the Switchblades, except it's not an automatic. This one has a back lock. You can depress it right here where the hump is, and it releases the blade. Blade falls down into there. And this is not a manual, and I'm not going to flick it out because it puts a lot of stress on these back locks. And I don't want to damage the back lock. This is a collector to me, it's not a user, so I don't abuse it. I just collect it. This one has a clip blade, which was common for stilettos, Italian style stilettos. They had clip blades, they had what they call a standard blade, which was like a flat ground blade that was at a spear shape. And then they had the daggers, and they also had crisp blades. Those were the common blades for folding stilettos back in the day. You had the dagger grind, you had the bayonet grind, the dagger grind, bayonet grind, what they called the standard, which was like a high flat ground spear shaped blade, and then you had the clip point, which looked just like this. The clip point. This is a clip blade. This is exactly what they look like. They're long and slender clips. And then you had the crisp. The crisp would be like this one. That's what the crisp blades looked like back in the day for switchblades and folding stilettos. But anyway, let's move on. 13-inch Kissing Crane German stiletto. Manual German stiletto. Operates with the back lock. It's a lock back knife. These can be flicked out too. You know, you can wrist flick them and stuff like that, but I don't like to do it because it stresses out the back lock. Sometimes they bend, so I don't want to do that. This is a Falcon stiletto, pretty typical of the ones I used to sell on eBay. I've sold over 2,000 of these on eBay. And this is like, I have maybe two or three more of these left, and those are the only ones I have left that I kept for myself to put in my collection. Bought them from Angelo Campolone in Italy. In the mid-1990s is when I bought that big order. I would say like 95, 96, somewhere around there. This is stainless steel blade. It's manual just like the other one. It's got the back lock. Maybe I can show you the similarities in these. This is the company that made the parts for this one. This is Falcon Stilettos, Italy. They made the parts for Kissing Cranes. If you look at these and compare them side to side, you'll see what I'm talking about. Everything's exactly the same. The blade dimensions, handle dimensions, parts, everything is exactly the same. They're identical. Some of the Falcon stilettos back in the day would have like KC49 on the blades, because lots of times they would just use whatever blades that they had to make blades, because these are all handmade. These are not factory made knives. These are totally handmade knives. And they would just use the parts that they had, and sometimes they would have to use the Kissing Crane blades to make Falcon stilettos. It's a little story behind that. But Angelo told me that these knives, the purpose of a stiletto, down sweetie, It's my girl trying to get in the movie, trying to get in the video again. The purpose of a stiletto was for dueling and for self-protection and self-defense. And the reason why these aren't expensively made super high quality knives is because they're meant to be disposable. That's what Angelo told me. He said after you get an incident or whatever, if you don't want to get in trouble, you throw it away. Throw it in the ocean. Throw it away. Get rid of it. But you don't keep it because you get caught with it after it's been used in an incident and you can get in trouble. So these are meant to be disposable knives. But anyway, meant for self-defense and meant to be disposable. Throwaways. But anyway, that's just a story I was told. I'm not going to say it's based on anything or whatever. That's just what Angelo told me in the email. Because I asked him about it. But anyway, next knife. This is a newer Falcon. This is a newer style Falcon. They started making these in the 2000s. This is probably the last ones that I bought. These are newer style Falcons that replaced this style of Falcon. This was the old style of Falcon. This is the way they used to make them when they were making kissing cranes. And now this is the way they make them now. The newer ones are a lot nicer. This one's got palisander handles. Oh, this one had acrylic handles. This one has acrylic handles. This one has palisander wood handles. I think it's like a hardwood. I'm not too much familiar with it. But it's really nice looking. And it has stainless steel bolsters, brass liners, stainless steel lockback. A lot of the specs and everything pretty much the same, but the blades are nicer. I like the bayonet blade. I like that blade nice. I think it's a lot nicer. This side doesn't have any markings. Oh, just to let you know, this is going to be the first part of 2 videos. The first part of 2 videos. This video is on my old stilettos. The next video is going to be on my modern stilettos that I like. These are all my old favorite stilettos that I have in my possession. They're not my only ones. These are just my favorite ones. Now, this is 13 inches, bayonet blade. 13 inches is like one of my favorite sizes for a stiletto, I think. I mean, I know legally, you can't carry big knives like this all the time. That you'll get in trouble lots of times if you get caught with one. But I just love the 13 inches. My utmost favorite size for a stiletto would probably be 11 inch. 11 inches are a size that's big enough, and it's not too big where you don't want to carry it. And yet it's big enough to be intimidating, and it's long enough to be a good self-defense weapon. But 13 inches, I don't know, 13 is just sexy. The 13-inch stiletto is just a sexy stiletto. To me, it's the best looking stiletto, the 13-inch stiletto. Okay, here we go. Let's get on to the next one. Yeah, I guess one of the people that commented on one of my videos said that my videos are knife porn. So does it make me a porn star? Interesting. But anyway, here's my next one. It's another AB, Alberto Beltrami, Italy. This one came from back in the early 1990s, I believe. Dagger grind, bullhorn handle scales. This is the 11-inch model. This is the 11-inch one that I like. To me, this is my favorite size. If I was going to carry one of these, this would be the size I'd probably carry. Would be the 11-inch. This is a swivel bolster. Nothing on this side. Blank on this side. It has the bullhorn handle scales, stainless steel bolsters. It's a pin. All these knives are pinned, hand pinned. They operate the same way. This is another swivel bolster. Push down the bolster, releases the blade. And as you'll see, this one will be a little bit faster than the other ones because it's a smaller knife. The smaller you get with switchblades, Italian switchblades, always the faster they are. Another thing too, you can never expect one of these to be perfect. Never. Don't ever expect one of these to be flawless or perfect. If you ever buy an Italian switchblade from, I don't know, Beltrami or Latima or or AKC. Those are the top manufacturers for Italian switchblades. But you will never get a perfect one. Let me tell you why. Because they're all handmade. And every one's a little bit different from the other one. Even though they're basically the same, they're all a little bit different. The grinds may not be perfect. The handle fitment may not be perfect. A lot of things cannot be perfect on one of these. Just letting you know that they're all beautiful. That's the 11-inch. Oh, back out. Next one up is one of my favorites. And one of my more expensive ones too. This is a Frank Beltrami special. It's a picklock. It's an old school picklock like they had back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. Made by Frank Beltrami himself. It's a dagger grind, one of my favorite grinds for a stiletto. And the way that this one works, you have to pick it up from the front to release it. It's not as convenient as a swivel bolster. This one doesn't have swivel bolsters. But this is the way that they used to make them back in the day. I can see why they went to the swivel bolster. It's a little bit, it's not the easiest thing to do. But that's a picklock. That's a Beltrami picklock, Frank Beltrami. Another 11-inch blade. Okay, now we'll go down a little bit smaller one. I can't remember what size. I think this is a 9-inch. I can't remember, like almost 9-inch, like 8 point something, almost 9 inches long. This is a Czech Republic Mitkov. The stag scales. This one has solid nickel bolsters. Stainless steel blade. Mitkov stainless. Dagger grind. And the way that you release this one, it's a lever lock. You push the lever, and it releases the blade, which is a lot nicer than a picklock, if you ask me. And the way it works, when you want this blade to come out, boom, there it is there. But the lever is like your safety also. When the lever's down, the blade can't be opened. The lever has to be flipped up like this and put into fire mode and then used. That's another common way for switchblades to be made. They were called lever locks. I actually like lever locks. Lever locks are nice. It's like, to me, it's like a higher quality switchblade. Next one up. This one doesn't have a name. I don't know who it was made by, but I know it's Italian, but I don't know who it was made by because it's a custom. This is a custom switchblade. It's been all file work. That's a custom one. And it works the same way the other ones do. This one's a swivel bolster also. I got this one in the early 90s. Dagger grind. It's got like a Damascus pattern dagger grind. I don't know if that's real Damascus or Fox Damascus. I would be more inclined to say it's fake Damascus. I think it's just for appearances more than it is to being real Damascus. A lot of switchblades were just made to be fancy. like works of art. A lot of fun collecting these. It's a lot of fun collecting these. I haven't done so in a long time because I've gotten into my cold steels. But I've collected pretty much all kinds of knives. All different kinds of brands from all over the world. I got all kinds of different kinds of knives. You guys just get to see the cold steels all the time because that's what I'm into lately. A lot of these other knives, they've been in my collection for, you know, 30, 40, some of them 50 years. Okay, I'm not going to give up my age, but I do have some old ass knives. Okay, the next one up is another German one. And this is a Hubertus, made in Solingen, Germany. I'm trying to read the blade label. It's kind of old. This is a very old knife. And it's kind of faded, so it's kind of hard for me to read. And I can't remember what kind of wood this was. I think it was cocobo or something like that. It was a hardwood. And this one has solid nickel silver bolsters. They're real solid nickel silver bolsters. This one has fairly thick brass liners. This is a very high quality knife. The German Hubertuses were, I would call, they were like comparable to, like, for switchblades, they were like a buck knife. I mean, they're very heavy duty, and this one was meant to be a self-defense knife, but the other one I'm going to show you was really used for a hunting knife. They're commonly used for hunting knives, but this one was meant for self-defense. This one has a totally dull blade. This blade has never been sharpened. That's the way they came from the factory. They come from the factory unsharpened, and the only thing that's sharp on it is the point. So they're just meant for stabbing. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I keep it real, man. I gotta tell you the truth. This was a self-defense knife. This was meant to be used as a weapon. And Hubertuses are very snappy. It's a lever lock also, like the Italian or the Mikov, the Czech Republic lever lock I just showed you. It's lever lock also. But that's a Hubertus. And that's their crisp blade. These are hard, super hard to find, and they're very valuable. Let me see if you can see the labeling on it. And it's probably hard to read if you can read it. But anyway, that's the Hubertus. This is another Hubertus. Now, remember I was telling you about the standard blade before? That was common for Italian stilettos and stilettos. These are all stilettos. This is a standard blade. It's a high flat grind, spear pointed shaped blade. Italians use this blade shape too for their switchblades. It's a very common one. It's like the blade that you would often get with your cheaper switchblades, because it was like just a regular. It was like a utilitarian blade. It wasn't considered to be like a self-defense blade or anything like that. And the Hubertus blade stocks are thicker too. They're a little bit thicker. I think these are definitely probably 3.5 millimeter. The Italians are probably like 3 millimeter by the count. I don't know. This is either 3.5 or a little bit thicker than 3.5. And this is made out of Solingen stainless steel. Both of these are. This one has a solid nickel silver bolsters. And this one has German stag handles on it. And stainless steel lock bar. Or back spring on it. Very nicely made knives. This one you push down on it. Very fast blades. These used to be some of my favorites. And these were a couple $100 back in the day. So I don't even know what these are worth. Okay. And last but not least is another manual. Another manual. This is a Kissing Crane Chris. A little 9-inch Chris. The stag handles, the brass bolsters, stainless steel lock bar, lock back knife with the Solgen stainless steel or KC. It's a KC48, Rostafrei, Germany. That means stainless steel, Germany. KC48, Kissing Crane, Germany. All right, people. Well, those are my old school. Those are my old school folders. My old school stilettos. Remember, we don't flick these out because it's a collector. So I'm just going to use a nail nick. They can be flicked out, though. These are the real kissing canes that were made in Germany, or assembled in Germany, with Italian parts. These aren't the ones that are made in China now. These are old school ones. All these are at least 25 to 35 years old. All right. Well, that's my old school collection. Next, coming up, I'm gonna do another video for you guys today. And it's going to be on my new favorite stilettos. And some may be knives that you may disagree with, whether or not you think they're a stiletto or not. To me, a stiletto, let me give you my explanation of what I think a stiletto is. It doesn't have to come from Italy. It doesn't have to come from Germany. It doesn't have to come from Europe somewhere. It can come from anywhere around the world. To me, a stiletto is a blade that's long and slender. Long and slender. And it has a handle that's long and slender. That's often like a dagger style shape, or this one's a long and slender clip style shape. But it has to be a long slender blade, whether it be a fixed blade or a folding blade, a folding knife. It has to be long and slender. And the handle has to be long and slender. That's why I would call it stiletto. It doesn't have to have finger guards. Some stilettos don't have finger guards. Some daggers don't have finger guards. But the main purpose of a stiletto is for stabbing. That's the main role that a stiletto plays. It's not a slashing knife. It's not a knife that you use in your kitchen. It's not a knife that's meant to skin animals. It's not a camp knife. It's not meant for batoning wood. It's not meant for none of that stuff. It's just meant for self-defense. And the primary role it plays in self-defense is stabbing. That's the purpose of a stiletto. The main way you want to use a stiletto is for stabbing. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's what a stiletto is. That's what. Look it up on the internet and see what you think, and come to your own conclusions about what you think a stiletto is and what the purpose of it was. It was a self-defense knife that was used in the primary role it was used for. It was stabbing. All right. But anyway, these are my old school stilettos. You got stilettos from Italy, Germany, Czech Republic. These are all my favorite old school stilettos. They're representing the collections that represent in my collection. All right. Peace out. Part number 2 coming up. Stay tuned. Same time, same channel, same place. Wild Wild West. Peace out.